Hi everyone! Firstly, well done to everybody who's managed to send in some Stormbreaker writing so far. We've really enjoyed reading your imaginative and varied pieces. Secondly, thank you for tuning into this week's writing lesson. Your learning objective this week carries on from Miss Rover's lesson last week and will be to use varied punctuation. Today we're going to be writing a book review of Stormbreaker so far, and our spag focus today will be on hyphens. You could also use these skills when writing a blurb for Stormbreaker or a film review if you've had the chance to watch the 2006 film trailer or even the whole film. You could also transfer these skills when writing a review of any book that you have read, for example on Reading Cloud, which I will mention later. So, let's begin with spag and look at hyphens. Remember that a hyphen looks similar to a dash, mentioned last week by Miss Rover, but is shorter and is used to link words together rather than for parenthesis like a dash is. If you are typing your writing into Word, you use this key here without any spaces between words for a hyphen. To type a dash, use a space before and after this same key, and your computer should automatically turn a hyphen into a dash. So, let me show you some examples. Hyphens can be used to link two or more separate words together to make a new word. The new word you create by hyphenating will usually be an adjective. For example, spine-tingling, action-packed, or state-of-the-art. It could also be a noun, for example, passerby or mother-in-law, but these are less common. Remember that we can create new words from other words without needing a hyphen, with words such as bathroom or seafood, and we just have to learn the ones that do need hyphens. Sometimes using a hyphen can also help clarify meaning. For example, I saw a man eating jellyfish has a very different meaning to I saw a man eating jellyfish. Can you spot the difference? Or there were 14-year-olds in the room has a very different meaning to there were 14-year-olds in the room. Can you think of your own example where hyphens are used to help clarify meaning? Okay, it's your turn now. Can you match the words on each side to make a hyphenated word that makes the most sense? For example, action-packed. Practice writing them down and think about what they could relate to in Stormbreaker. You can pause the video now. Welcome back. Well done. Let's check and see if you got the same as me. I had action-packed, fast-paced, multi-millionaire, adrenaline-fueled, intel gathering, game changer, well-written, scary-looking, lightning-quick and weapon-wielding. Put these to one side as they'll be useful later on. Sometimes hyphenated words can be useful to describe characters. For example, Alex Ryder, the green-eyed hero, or Mr. Blunt, the shady-looking bank manager. Can you think of any more of your own to add to your list? It can be fun to create your own hyphenated words to describe someone. Can you create your own to describe Alex? Or maybe even a different character? Using ER, ING or ED at the end of your second word is a good place to start. For example, henchman slayer, villain fighting or left-handed. You can pause the video, have a go and see if you can add any to your list. Let's have a go at writing a book review for Stormbreaker so far using the hyphenated words that we've collected. If you aren't up to date with the Stormbreaker chapters so far, you might like to pause it here and go and catch up with the chapters on the Year 6 YouTube channel. So, we need to remember that a book review should give the reader a summary of the characters and plot without giving away too much, and definitely no spoilers. You should be quite descriptive using powerful adjectives and adverbs to allow the reader to imagine what the story is like. So, I'm going to begin with my introduction, which is going to summarise the plot and introduce key characters. So I've started with Stormbreaker is everything that a spy novel should be. Action-packed, fast-paced and absolutely full of plot twists. I've started with a description of the book itself, and you can see that I've used a colon, some Year 6 punctuation here to introduce my list, making sure that I've got my clause before the colon makes sense on its own. We'll cover colons again and revisit them in a lesson coming soon. Then I've got my list of adjectives using some hyphenated ones that I created earlier to describe what Stormbreaker is about. So now I've introduced the book itself with a quick description, I'm going to introduce some of the plot and the characters. So I'll start with Alex, using capital letter for his name. So Alex Ryder. I'm then going to use some punctuation for parenthesis, as modelled by Miss Rofer last week, and give a bit of information about Alex, our main character. A seemingly, spelling mistake there, a seemingly ordinary 14-year-old boy. So I'm going to use hyphens for 14-year-old, maybe just 14-year-old. That's the end of my parenthesis, so I'll use another comma there. Finds himself plunged. Let's use some dramatic verb there. Plunged into the depths of the MI6 spy world, capital letters for MI6. After, and I want to give a hint as to what's already happened at the beginning of the book, after the suspicious, using the sh sound there, the suspicious death of his uncle. I can end my sentence there and just check it through. That makes sense and my punctuation's okay. I might give a little bit of a hint as to the drama that's about to come. I'm going to mention the author by name. His name is Anthony Horowitz. Again, remembering to use capital letters for his first name and second name. I'm going to use brackets for my parenthesis here because the person reading this, a Year 6 child for example, might not know who the author is. So Anthony Horowitz, the author, sends Alex on a mission. Let's describe it with a hyphenated adjective, maybe high speed, or I could have fast paced, but I've already used that one. A high speed mission revolving around, let's describe one of the baddies now, a shady multi-millionaire. Use one of my hyphenated nouns, hyphen, a shady multi-millionaire named Herod Sale. Again, 2 capital letters for his name. Now I'm going to add an afterthought with a dash. Look at last week's lesson if you've forgotten about dashes. Along with all the gadgets. I want to make it sound exciting because it's full of exciting spy stuff. Gadgets, villains, and adrenaline-filled, hyphenated one there. Adrenaline-fueled, oh I've said adrenaline-filled, sorry, action that this involves. End my sentence with a full stop. I can then go back through and check my punctuation, check my spellings if I need to, but I'm happy with that. So I could then go on in my next paragraph to give more details about the plot and some of the other characters, and then I could do another paragraph to include my personal opinion about the book so far. What do I like? What have I enjoyed? Maybe what don't I like? You can of course give negative opinions if you want to, but make sure you're polite and make sure you give reasons for your opinions, not just, oh, it's rubbish, don't bother. So detailed reasons, please. You could then make a recommendation to the reader at the end of your review. Do you think they should read it if they like such and such? Okay. And finish there. But making sure you're checking your punctuation and that you've used some exciting, varied punctuation. You can see here, just in my first paragraph, I've used a colon here. I've used lots of hyphenated adjectives and a noun there as well. I've used some commas for parenthesis here. I've used some brackets, for parenthesis here, and I've used a dash for an afterthought at the end. I've also put in an exclamation mark here to sort of introduce with an exciting sentence to add emphasis. So lots of ideas there. It's going to be, so it's your turn now. I'd like you to write a book review of Stormbreaker so far based on the chapters that we've read up till now. You can send it to us at the Year 6 email. It can either be typed or handwritten. You can just send us a photo, or alternatively you could upload it to Reading Cloud, which we'd like you to make more use of. We've seen some brilliant book reviews on there by Year 6 children, and we'd like to encourage you, maybe after you've done your Stormbreaker book review, you could review any books that you've been reading over this time. That would be fantastic. It will be your teachers and your classmates. You can add friends on there, and it's a nice place to kind of meet up and chat about books. So I would encourage you to get onto Reading Cloud. If you're not sure of your login, obviously get in touch. Okay, so your Chile challenges for this task are here. Chile 1 is to accurately use capital letters and full stops. Chile 2 is to include hyphenated words, for example fast-paced or any of the ones you've created earlier. Chile 3 is to include punctuation for parenthesis, brackets, dashes or commas that we practiced last lesson. And Chile 4 is to include a colon or a semicolon, which hopefully you can remember, but we will be covering it again soon. I'm going to leave you with some helpful spellings. As you haven't read the book yourselves probably, you've just heard it. There's some character names there that might be useful, so I'll leave them on the screen for you. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to reading your book reviews. Take care, and we'll see you next writing lesson. Bye for now.